Just like when you go to a concert and they sustain a note or they hit a rip and you stand and scream. You go to a sporting event, there's a flash of the eye, there's an extraordinary, and people stand. That's what emotion, that's what talent does to you. And so that's what we teach. And the best chance that employee has to engage every customer emotionally every time is if they're A, doing what they do best, and they're talent aware and they know exactly how to use that talent to impact their relationship with that customer every time.
Roy West is a gentleman that came into my life about 7 years ago when I was doing some consulting work with Marriott Vacation Club and Ritz-Carlton Club. And he was a gentleman that was over the entire organization as far as teaching strengths to our associates. And I sat in on one of his seminars, and frankly it was almost a religious, life-changing experience for me. I got so wound up in learning about myself, and even though I had the opportunity to coach at a high level in the NBA as a world championship coach, I found myself really knowing so much more about myself. I knew that spending time with Roy would take me to another level.
When I first met Roy, I was fascinated. It was like we were kindred souls. He was speaking the same language of what I wanted to hear. I'd always had a passion for helping people, but this really spoke to me in a way that nobody ever has spoke to me before.
There are a few folks that you meet in life, if you're lucky, that you kind of know from early on are pretty special. And Roy's one of those guys.
We see a world where we actually honor others the most for how they're most different, because they're bringing something to the game that we don't have. And we seek them out, and we ask them, and we invite their help. And how would the world be different if everyone had not only permission to be who they are, but they were actually honored and sought out? Here's what we know and believe is that we're all broken, all of us. We can focus on trying to fix that, and what that really does is get us back to norm. And so what we choose to do in this world is to focus on what they can be really great at.
Strengths Finders has really helped me focus on, with my employees, on what they do best. Instead of, if there's a mistake, harping on that, you can actually pick their strength and reward them or praise them on their strength.
If you take this Strengths Finders test, you will be able to understand and know what your talents are. It is not simply a personality test. It's not a brain preference test or brain dominance, which are also helpful, but this really can give you the tools. How can I, on a day-to-day basis, improve my life by knowing my strengths? So that's really what I think has been the incredible benefit of learning from Roy, is really getting into these Strengths Finders as tools.
I can't think of a day in my life from that point where I was first introduced to strengths that I haven't thought of, used, and helped and shared with the people that I care about most in my life.
When I walk in the room with a group, my mission is to help them divorce themselves from many of the paradigms that got them in the room. You know, they're there, they're handsome folks, they're dressed well, they're working for a large employer, and they're, by society's standards, they're very successful. And so my job is to take that success and not to dismiss it, but to help them realize that there's something greater there for them, and that is their calling, that's their purpose, that's the greatness in their life, and that there's only a couple of things that can stand in their way from achieving that, and one of those things is the fact that they can be very good at a lot of things. And so for me to be able to put to rest some of those old myths and to do it in a way by investing in them and encouraging them and speaking to their heart, it's extremely rewarding.
I knew that spending time with Roy would take me to another level, because there has to be someone that's going to take you where you can't take yourself. That's what Roy does. That's what great coaches do. You know, whether you put them in a class of Urban Meyer, Bill Belichick, Billy Donovan, great sports coaches, he has that same impact on people. And I really believe that everyone in this world needs a coach. No matter how accomplished you are, whether you're Michael Jordan, Tiger Woods, whoever, you need a coach. And I'm proud to say Roy is my coach.
I think it's safe to say that throughout our lives we are constantly going through decisions, and every day, whether it's a small, medium, and occasionally large decisions, there are factors that you need to take into account when you're making those decisions. And those decisions are the forks in the road that later have so many implications on how the rest of your life turns out. And I can't think of one factor in my life or one aspect of my life that has allowed me to make better decisions and create more enriched paths in my life than the introduction of strengths, and even more specifically ROYWEST.
I would say that if you use the ROYWEST companies and the services associated with them, that it will change your life.